we'll have Randy Hultgren.
To me, it's common sense. You all know it. You all have budgets. When times are tight, you tighten your belt. You make some decisions, you go back to your budget, and you sharpen your pencil a little bit more and say, you know what, I was hoping to be able to do this, but we're not going to be able to do it this year. We need to take a look at what our revenue is, how much income we're going to have that year, and then make decisions of how we're going to spend it. It's completely upside down out in Washington, D.C., and the congressman, the incumbent in the 14th Congressional District, did nothing to fight for a budget this year. For the first time in 36 years, we do not have a budget in America. It hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but that is offensive to me. How do we hold them accountable when they won't even vote on a budget? We can't even look at a document to say how they intend to spend money, because they're just spending it however they want to. And we're paying the bill. That needs to stop. We need accountable government. We need responsible spending. There's things we can do immediately to start cutting that waste. Again, it's offensive to me when government says, we can't cut anymore. It'd be way too painful. You all need to cut, but government thinks they don't need to cut. That's wrong. They need to cut. We need to start shrinking the size of government. One of the things I think we could do right away is zero-based budgeting. You and I and our families, when we look at the beginning of the year and make decisions of how we're going to spend money that year, we start at zero, we figure out what we think our income is going to be for that year, and then we think about how we can spend that money throughout the year and make sure that they match up, and that maybe we have a little bit extra to go into other things, surprises that might come up. Government doesn't do that. They start out at what they spent last year and just build on top of that. I've seen it down in Springfield. I've seen it out in Washington, D.C. It's got to stop. We need to approach every spending decision looking at it and saying, is this important enough to saddle our kids and our grandkids with the debt for the next 50 years? Because that's what it's going to be. Every decision that they're making up there right now is going to saddle our kids and our grandkids with this debt. We can turn this around, but we can't do it by taxing. That is the wrong way to go. I completely disagree 100% with Governor Quinn here, who wants to raise our taxes 33%. At a time when we're already struggling, when we're having trouble paying our bills, to put another 33% tax increase on us is the wrong way to go. Same thing out in Washington, D.C. It's the wrong thing to do, increase taxes on people when they're struggling. We need to cut the government. We are not undertaxed. We are overtaxed. The problem is government overspends, and they're not held accountable. Now is the time. The best way we can hold them accountable is on November 2nd. It's election time. The fact that they refused to even pass a budget this year, that's enough reason to vote the incumbents out of office. That they refused to budget so that we couldn't hold them accountable, that's ridiculous. Let's hold them accountable with our vote on November 2nd and send that message. We can turn this around again. The way we turn it around is by creating jobs. There's so much uncertainty right now out there. I talked about the health care bill, where 1,100 times it talks about that the Secretary of Health shall determine, and all the uncertainty that comes with that. We see it also in other regulations where bureaucrats are making these decisions, unelected bureaucrats. I see it with the EPA, where they can't pass legislation, so the EPA comes in and regulates each and every one of you and puts increased burdens on top of you. That shouldn't happen. That should be done through legislation. So we need some changes out there. We can do it, but we need leaders who are willing to stand up and fight for you for a change. Rather than looking out for their own interests or listening to their leadership who's coming and telling them how to vote, they should be listening to us. They should be here listening to us. We can do this, but the way we do it is to grow jobs. Real quick, met with a great manufacturer here in Geneseo yesterday. 15 years ago, we started out in the basement of another building, had one machine, built it up. Now he's got 12 employees working for him, about 15 machines. He's put his life savings into this, and it's working, but he's scared to death. Not because of that he doesn't think he can do this or employees can't do it. He's scared to death of what government's going to do to him. It's no longer what's government going to do for us, it's what's government going to do to us. That's got to stop. We need leaders who are working for us, not out there working for themselves. So let's make that change.
I think at this time we'll take a few questions from the floor, and then we'll have closing statements from each candidate. Yes.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I'm curious what your positions are concerning the proposal to use up to $40 million of our tax dollars to provide a federal guaranteed loan to bring Triumph Foods from St. Joe, Missouri, a company that has no historic, economic, or social ties to our area, to East Moline. Just curious to see, I know Mr. O'Brien will talk about jobs, but these are jobs that probably will not help our economy locally. what your positions are on up to a $40 million federal guarantee. You know, the question previous was on big tax spending or big government. $40 million of our tax funds to guarantee shot in the dark. Thank you.
Who wants to take off on that one? Well, we'll start.
Did they get all the studying done?
Randy Hultgren has to leave, so he'd like to make a closing statement at this point.
Just quickly, and I apologize that I've got to go, but this has been great. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you get a feel that there's some real differences. There's going to be a very clear opportunity to make decisions this November, especially in the 14th Congressional District and in the 17th Congressional District. Very clear differences of opinion of role of federal government and growth of federal government and the amount of spending going on. We need people who are working for us, fighting for us, listening to us, available to us, wanting to represent us. That's my commitment to you. It's more than just talk. You can look at my record. I've served with Todd Sieben down in the state Senate. Todd knows me well. If you see Todd, ask him about me. Ask him about what kind of man I am, family man, someone who follows through on the commitments that I make. Tim Bivens, state senator here, close friend of mine. Tim and I think very similarly, vote very similarly. So I ask you to reach out and check my credentials. Check with people who really know me and have seen me in action and see that I follow through on what I say. So thank you for being here. I'm going to do something too. I've got cards and I'm going to put back here. The different thing on these cards is this got my cell number on it. It's got the cell phone that I carry with me all the time. I would love for you to call me. I've never been given the congressman's cell phone number. I don't know if you have, but this is my cell phone number, and I would be honored to talk to you anytime about issues that are important to you and questions that you asked tonight that I missed over these next few minutes. I'd be honored if you'd give me a call and let's have a chat. Or if there's other issues that come up, you've got questions about that we weren't able to talk about here, I'd really be honored to have that opportunity to talk with you. And again, thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for this opportunity that we've had tonight. Most importantly, whoever you decide to vote for, vote. I really encourage you to get out and vote. That's our responsibility as American citizens. Let's make sure that we preserve our right and take action on what our responsibility is as citizens. So God bless you all. Thank you very much for this time.
I think we'll continue on for a few more minutes.